This is a story about learning to care less, less about the noise, the expectations, and the things that don't really matter. It's about focusing on what truly counts and letting go of the rest.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fick by Mark Manson.
Teaches us the liberating power of choosing what to care about.
Getting ahead in life or improving our lives is not necessarily figuring out how to accomplish every single goal we have. It's more in asking what sorts of goals should we have in the first place.
And what to leave behind. At its core, the subtle art of not giving a is about values. It's about understanding what's important to you and building a life centered around those priorities. Manson argues that trying to care about everything is a recipe for stress and dissatisfaction. Instead, he invites us to get brutally honest with ourselves about what actually deserves our limited time and energy. Mark Manson begins with a provocative idea.
We all have this fantasy that it's possible to not give a shit what people think about us. Everybody's felt this at one time or another. Everybody wishes that we were impervious to the opinions of those around us.
You can't care about everything. In other words, every time we care about something unimportant, we lose the chance to care about what really matters. He explains that choosing what to care about is an act of empowerment, and learning not to care is often the first step toward freedom. Manson offers a roadmap to reevaluating what we value, helping us let go of things that don't align with our goals or identity. What's one thing you care about that you wish you didn't? Let us know in the comments. The 3 Subtle Truths. Manson structures his book around 3 subtle truths that help us embrace a new way of living. Let's dive into these principles and explore how they challenge conventional wisdom. Truth 1. Life is pain.
There is some facet of suffering associated with it simply because our mind becomes attached to things and attachment leads to suffering. It's that suffering has a certain evolutionary usefulness to it.
Manson doesn't sugarcoat reality. His first truth is simple. Pain is inevitable. He argues that trying to avoid discomfort leads to a shallow, unfulfilled life. Instead, he encourages us to embrace pain as a sign of growth. For example, chasing a meaningful career or building strong relationships requires hard work and emotional vulnerability. The question, he says, is not whether you'll suffer, but what you're willing to suffer for. This truth pushes us to accept life's challenges instead of running from them. By choosing struggles that align with our values, we transform pain into purpose. Pain, in this sense, becomes a kind of currency. The more you're willing to endure for the right things, the richer your life becomes. Whether it's enduring criticism to pursue your passion or embracing setbacks in the name of self-improvement, Manson reminds us that suffering is not the enemy, it's part of the journey. Truth 2, you are not special. In a world obsessed with self-esteem and participation trophies, Manson's second truth feels like a wake-up call. You are not special.
So you are not special. It opens up, I define entitlement in the book as feeling as though you deserve to be happy without sacrificing for it. It's basically that idea of believing you deserve to have positive experiences without traversing the negative experiences to get there.
He explains that many of us live under the illusion that we're destined for greatness, but this mindset can backfire, leading to entitlement and disappointment. Instead of expecting the world to revolve around us, Manson urges us to accept our limitations and focus on making a difference in our small corner of the world. For instance, striving for unrealistic goals often leaves us disillusioned. But by embracing our ordinary, flawed selves, we open the door to genuine connection and personal growth. The key to a meaningful life, he says, is to find something bigger than yourself to serve. When we stop striving for perfection, we can finally appreciate the beauty of being ordinary. Manson's point is clear. True greatness comes not from being extraordinary, but from fully embracing who we already are. Truth 3. Responsibility equals freedom.
If you are responsible for something, it means that it's your fault. But these are 2 completely different things. You know, it's like if I get cancer, it's not my fault that I got cancer, but it is absolutely my responsibility to deal with the cancer.
The final truth is about taking ownership. Manson argues that true freedom comes from accepting responsibility for our lives. Blaming others or waiting for external solutions only keeps us stuck. Manson explains that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond. The most empowering realization, he says, is that you are responsible for your own happiness. This doesn't mean taking responsibility for things outside our control. It means owning our reactions and choices. For example, if someone treats you unfairly, you may not be at fault, but you are responsible for how you handle it. Do you lash out or do you rise above? Manson emphasizes that this shift in perspective gives us power. When you choose responsibility, you also choose growth, he explains. It's not about blaming ourselves for everything, it's about recognizing that we hold the key to our own freedom. What's one area of your life where you could take more responsibility? The feedback loop from hell. Manson introduces a concept he calls the feedback loop from hell. It's the cycle of caring too much about not caring. For example, if you're anxious about being anxious or upset about being upset, you're stuck in the loop. This creates a spiral of negativity that feeds on itself. Manson's advice? Break the loop by accepting your feelings instead of fighting them. When you stop caring about being perfect, you free yourself to just be. He points out that we all experience fear, doubt, and insecurity. It's part of being human. Instead of pretending these feelings don't exist, Manson encourages us to confront them head on. By practicing acceptance, we break free from the loop and start living with more clarity and intention. The importance of values.
I'm going to go live on a beach somewhere. If I choose one value to prioritize over everything else, that means by definition, I must be willing to reject other things. If I'm not willing to reject those things, then I'm not able to actually prioritize what's important in my life.
One of the most powerful lessons in the book is about values. Manson emphasizes that not all values are created equal. Good values like honesty, curiosity, and kindness are internal, enduring, and within our control. Bad values like status, material success, or approval from others are external and fleeting. Manson challenges us to examine our own values and ask, are they leading us to a meaningful life or a shallow one? For instance, if you're constantly chasing external validation, you'll likely feel unfulfilled. But if you focus on internal values like self-respect and growth, you'll find deeper satisfaction. To realign your values, start by asking, what matters most to me? And are my actions reflecting those priorities? The quality of your life, he says, depends on the quality of your values, death, and the freedom it brings. In one of the book's most profound chapters, Manson confronts the topic of death. He argues that accepting our mortality is the ultimate key to freedom. When we face the reality that our time is limited, we stop wasting it on trivial pursuits. What's truly important, Manson writes, becomes clear when you realize you're going to die. This isn't about dwelling on death, it's about using it as a compass. For example, when you remember that life is finite, you might stop stressing about minor inconveniences and start focusing on what truly brings you joy. Manson encourages us to live with urgency, not fear. When we accept our mortality, we start living with purpose and gratitude, the subtle art of letting go. One of the central messages of the book is about letting go, of perfection, of control, and of the need to please everyone. Manson explains that life is about choices and we simply can't care about everything. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. Instead, it's about choosing where to focus your energy. Manson reminds us that saying no to what doesn't matter is what allows us to say yes to what does. For example, if you let go of the need for constant approval, you free yourself to pursue what genuinely excites you. The mark of a good life is not giving a f-seek about more things, but giving a f**k about fewer things, Manson writes. In the subtle art of not giving a fuck, Mark Manson delivers a refreshing, no-nonsense approach to living a meaningful life. It's not about avoiding problems, but about choosing better ones. He invites us to let go of perfection, embrace discomfort, and focus on values that align with our true selves. As Manson puts it, the secret to life is not caring about everything, but caring about the right things. This book isn't about apathy, it's about clarity. It's about caring deeply, but only for what truly matters. Which part of the book resonated most with you? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring insights.